everyone. This is Isabel, co-founder and creator of Civ, and this is the Civ Skin Microbiome series where we highlight the important role of the skin microbiome in healing stubborn skin conditions. Today we have Bobbye Anderson on the show. She has been a practicing esthetician for 16 years, located in Carlsbad, California. She has a special focus in massage and lymphatic drainage. I really think you guys are going to love this episode. It's been a long time coming. I love Bobbye. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay, and we are here with Bobbye. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay, so tell me, do you remember, how did we first meet, or how did you find Civ?
I found Civ through Instagram, through Jen Mills, which I'm sure a lot of people did. So thank you, Jen, for exposing Civ to all of his estheticians and everything else she does. But yeah, I remember like backpedaling. I was just looking for microbiome focused skincare and came across Biodoom and other amazing products, started following them on Instagram, came across Jen's Instagram, was like, whoa, here's another esthetician that thinks this way. And then she posted about Civ and I was like, what is this? And so I think I like immediately emailed you. And then you and I had a conversation on the phone, and that was how it happened.
Yeah, amazing.
It was like a year ago, I think.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah.
Jen is so awesome. Cult Skin by Jen, everyone. shout out.
Yeah, thank you, Jen.
Yeah. Shouting Jen out because she's the best. Okay, amazing. So you learned about it through Jen. What was making you want to even get into like microbiome focused skincare? What is the microbiome? What role does that play in your practice?
So there's a lot. So I guess just a little backstory. I was born in 1985, a long time ago, but I was a little kid in the 80s and 90s where antibiotics were like grossly overprescribed. And this is not to knock antibiotics or derms or any of that. Like, I'm down for it. There's a time and a place. But as a little kid, I think that immediately started altering my gut microbiome, therefore my skin microbiome. I had eczema, and then as a teen, acne. In my 20s, I had really gnarly acne, like grade 3, grade 4, cystic acne. I took Accutane twice, like every topical antibiotic and oral antibiotic you can think of that they can give you, you know, like, and tretinoin, benzoyl, adapalene, everything. And so, not knowing what I know now, but this is years and years of my skin microbiome just like being attacked, you know, on all angles. And so I eventually went to go get my aesthetics license, just trying to figure out my own skin and to help other people. Because back then it wasn't how it is now. You know, it was either like fluffy kind of spa, like hotel stuff, or like medical side. And so people didn't think about microbiome and more like corneotherapy kind of approach to skincare like they do now. And so that kind of led me to where I am now. But then I also went and got a degree in sustainable agriculture. So I was a farmer for a long time. So I've worked with a lot of soil and soil health and soil science. And that's kind of like opened. And that's where you were like, oh, you know what bacillospores are? And I was like, yes. And that was when like these light bulbs went off. And I was like, finally, like my two worlds intersect with like an actual product, like bacillospores. I know what these are. I've used them. We inoculate soil with them in farming. They're beneficial. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Wait, how did I not remember that you were a farmer?
But you were like, you were like, oh, okay, so you know what bacillospores are. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, it was finally like my worlds collided. I was like,
oh my God. Yeah. I'm obsessed with that. That is so amazing. And you're so right with the antibiotics. I often talk about this too with like the rise of hypochlorous acid, where it's like there's a time and a place for it, but it kind of reminds me of this like whole situation that we're in with the gut, where when you overprescribe antibiotics for the gut, it's pretty deleterious in the long run. And we didn't know what we didn't know when that was all happening. And now I kind of see those parallels almost on the skin with hypochlorous now that it's so commercially available. It's not just in hospitals anymore. So that's one of my hot takes. And
that is a hot take. And I feel the same way. It's kind of like back when I was in school, it was like this murder, kill, you know, like we're going to just like peel it, you know, cleanse it. And even in germ situations or when you're sick, just like kill every bacteria, not thinking of like what that does to the overall microbiome of your whole entire body, you know? So
totally. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to hear that you value the microbiome and it's a big piece of your practice and you've kind of come out of that. I mean, your skin looks amazing now. So Something's worked.
Yeah, and I was kidding. I got really gnarly food poisoning in Mexico City in 2019, like right when I started getting back in aesthetics, and my like gut health took like a serious downward spiral, and therefore my skin. And that was the first time where I really felt the actual connection. Like my skin was hot and flaring and red, and it was because my gut was so messed up. And so that also led me into like a whole deep dive of my own healing, and then healing my skin, you know, through healing my gut. And you learn a lot when you have to go down that avenue. So all these things kind of like, you know, culminated into like how I think of the microbiome today, and how I approach people's skin, you know, it's first and foremost is totally microbiome's healthy.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the first step in becoming a good esthetician, is having struggles of your own that you've had to figure out. And that just, gives you more compassion for the client. It motivates you. It helps you just kind of understand what they're going through. So yeah. Civ to the rescue, right?
I mean, yeah, it's like this little, now I'm like, I have this little, there's another esthetician the other day, it was like, I feel like the aunt, like my big fat Greek wedding, he like puts Windex on everything. She's like, with that sieve now, she's like, just use sieve.
No, totally. And speaking of sieve, you have an amazing before and after that you've allowed us to share. So here we have your amazing before and after, just 17 days, just a little over 2 weeks. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, walk me through, tell me a little bit, starting with like the patient history or the client history. Like, how long has she been coming to see you? What did you guys try before? And now like you got this amazing result. Like, how did you achieve that?
Well, she's not really a client. She's a really, really good friend of mine. Like, we've known each other since high school. And so she lives in LA. She's lived in LA since we were in our 20s. So I've given her a few facials, but she has had psoriasis since 2011, like, and severe plaque, whole body psoriasis, like, you know, like head to toe, and has struggled with it a lot and has used so many things. And she's turned to biologics, you know, which have helped her more than anything. But they're really hard on your body and your immune system, you know, so she's had to change them because they stopped working. And this happened because she got pregnant and had to stop taking her Stelara and had this huge whole body flare up, you know, which she hadn't had in years because she'd been on the Stelara. And at this point with Civ, I hadn't like used it on psoriasis, and she actually messaged me and was like, hey, do you think this would work on me? I'm like, oh, is your psoriasis bad? And she's like, yeah. And she sent me this first photo, and I was like, oh my God, yeah. So I sent her a bottle, and then I didn't hear from her. And I was like, either she's not using it or maybe it hasn't worked. And then randomly she was like, look at my legs. And I was like blown away, because that's a huge improvement. And psoriasis is so hard, and it's brutal on people's bodies, you know. And so to have something topically that does that, that's crazy. Because she said the only other thing that's ever worked topically was steroids, and you can only use those for so long, and we all know that those aren't good for long-term use. So I was blown away with this before and after.
That is insane.
Yeah. And I was like, I used it on your body anywhere else? She's like, no, I just did on my legs just to see what would happen. And so she started using it on her whole body.
Oh my God. That is awesome. Do you know like if she was using anything else? Do you know what kind of cleanser she was using? Like what else was she doing to help with this? If somebody at home is listening and they have this, or, you know, an esthetician is like, oh my God, I haven't been able to make anyone's psoriasis budge. Like, you know, what kind of advice would you give them? Or do you know?
She wasn't using much. She was using like a really basic, like natural lotion. I can't remember what it was. She wasn't taking anything internally. She's pregnant at this point, right? She just had her baby 4 weeks ago. So just really basic stuff. And so since then, we've kind of been working, like I talked to Kieran just about like what he would have someone with psoriasis use. And so we're kind of getting around those. It's been hard because she just had a baby, and that's wild enough, you know? And so that's kind of the next step, and we'll go from there. But she said her skin's flared up a little since having a baby, which could happen because your immune system and hormones are so, you know, on high alert after that. But she said nothing has worked like Civ has topically.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, we're similar with eczema, like we're approaching it in a slightly different way. And psoriasis is so interesting with this kind of aspect of the immune system, right? So the skin cells aren't able to cycle through properly. It's kind of buildup of the skin cells. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that also has to do with hydration levels of the skin. Like the skin, if it's not properly hydrated, it can't cycle through skin cells properly. And so that's another way that Civ helps with that. When we're looking at the microbiome of somebody with psoriasis, we'll see an overgrowth of Corynebacterium oftentimes, which is usually found in dry environments or environments that don't have enough water or hydration or oil. Right. And so it kind of makes sense that this bacteria is bred in those areas, that then when there's an overgrowth of that bacteria, we start to see things like psoriasis pop up, because that transepidermal water loss that happens, that kind of barrier degradation that starts to happen, makes it really hard for water to stay in the skin and be able to cycle through properly. So it's a big piece of psoriasis, is being properly hydrated. And so not only is Civ going to help improve by reducing that cornybacterium, but it's also going to help to improve the water content of the skin and be able to allow that skin to start to cycle through those skin cells properly. So I'm so happy to hear that it helped her, and pairing it with a moisturizer is great, because you can pair Civ with anything, as you know, including a steroid too. Somebody's on a steroid, and steroids are, like we were talking about earlier with antibiotics, there's a time and a place, and sometimes you do need them.
Right.
But, you can't stay on them for too long, because it does affect, your overall systemic health of the skin. So
right. That's what I told her. I'm like, if you have to go back on Stelara, do it. You don't want to end up with psoriatic arthritis or something if this gets so out of control. But to have something like Civ, even using with topical steroids, like same thing you said, like just add that in there to keep that microbiome a little bit happier than it has been for a long time.
Yeah, totally. Well, that is amazing. I'm so glad that she found Civ. I'm so glad that she has you kind of looking out for her.
Yeah, we're working on other things, but I'm learning as I go too, because psoriasis isn't something, that we specialize in as an esthetician. But it makes sense to me. I understand it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, moving on here. So as we wrap up, I do like to ask everybody, what is a hot take from you? Give me something good. Give me something that's going to stir the pot.
I don't use benzoyl peroxide to treat acne.
No benzoyl peroxide for acne.
I'll never say never. I have and I will, and the same kind of time and place thing, but it's not my first approach. It's never, I never put someone on it right away, and I've had success, and that's my
honestly, I like that a lot, because I don't know, benzoyl peroxide, there's no utility in it other than killing an overgrowth of C. acnes. That's all you have, and you can't even stay on it for too long usually, because it starts to create dermatitis on the skin. It starts to create reactive skin, and it's because when you eradicate that competitor completely, you start to open a pathway for other dermatitic type of bacteria to grow. Different staph species, or even things like cornybacterium, will grow.
Right.
So I think that's really smart. I love it as a last resort. And the other thing too is the skin becomes dependent on it. So once you have somebody on it, it's really hard for them to come off of it usually.
That's what I like to ease in without it. And if like I said, if things just aren't moving where I think it will help, but it's been very rare that I have to do that. Or it's usually somebody they will not give up their panoxyl wash. I'm like, okay, instead of this, let's use this more of this pro-micronized benzoyl peroxide product, and then we'll wean you off of that. But
yeah,
that's usually it. But yeah, the degradation of the skin using it long term, that's just what I've seen in my practice, and on myself too. It ruined my skin when I was younger, so I'm scared of it. I don't touch it.
Yeah, I was on it for a period of time as well, I'll admit, and I was like, God, this feels so wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm clean, guys. I'm clean. Just finally able to come off, but it was really hard. And there was a moment where the skin started to flare again, and then I had to spot treat and go back on, and I don't know. I was trying everything, but it was hard to come off of. And for that reason, I get nervous about people going on it right away. Mm-hmm. Selfishly, I'm curious, what are your kind of go-tos? Unless this is secret sauce that you don't want to.
Your sauce spawning, I think it's most go-tos. I mean, Civ has helped a lot with that, because the thing is, when someone comes in, especially with a damaged barrier from using panoxyl wash, whatever they're using at home, or benzoyl peroxides, Civ has been, I can get their skin to move a little faster than I was able to beforehand. And so, I mean, mandelic acid is my queen for treating acne. That's what I turn to most of the time. And then retinoids and glycolics, just depending on the type of acne and the age and the condition of their skin. So it's so bio-individual to me treating acne. I don't follow and I love Face Reality products. I just don't follow their regimen of, this is cleanse, tone, my mandelic and benzoyl peroxide. It just, I found ways to work around it.
Makes sense. How do you feel about sulfur?
I love sulfur. I do. I'm allergic to sulfur, but I found that I can use it topically and I'm fine. And same with other clients, you know, if they have a sulfur allergy, and usually topical sulfur is okay. And I find it really beneficial for like rosacea type skin. So that has helped a lot.
Okay. Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Bobbye. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leave the people with where they can find you, where they can follow you, if they want to book with you, if they're in your area, or do you take virtuals? Let them know how to get in touch.
I work at Evolve Skin Spa and Wellness. It's a med spa and wellness center in Carlsbad, California. And I can be found on Instagram. My Instagram name is Bobbye's World, BOBBYES World. And you can book with me or message me, whatever any questions. I love just like talking to people about this stuff because it's my wheelhouse. That's what I do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone go follow her. She is hilarious. I love her. And
I'm not funny, but
so. You are funny.
I was a bartender for 20 years too. That I guess maybe that's where it comes from.
There you go. So everyone send her your favorite drinks.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll give you tips on how to make them better.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Bobbye. And we will see everybody next time.
Bye.